Welcome back, friends. Fallout here, and with Rite of the Nine now officially out in D2, it's time to talk about weapons. Specifically, we're going to go over a bunch of god rolls for you to keep an eye out for. We're going to try to do 3 god rolls for each weapon, with maybe a few exceptions here and there. These will be a mixture of mostly PvE rolls and some PvP rolls. Basically, if I think the gun is worth using in PvP, I will point that out. Also, I'm going to say that the 5 weapons I'm most excited to get god rolls for are going to be at the very end of the video. And with that, let's go. Kicking things off with the new Pacific Epitaph. Now, don't think that just because I'm putting this gun at the very beginning of the list that I think it's dog water. It's basically a knockoff version of a gun everybody used to love and use a lot, which is Forbearance. That being said, if I'm going to run a grenade launcher in the kinetic slot these days, it's probably going to be Lost Signal. But to those who are a fan of wave frames, here's some rolls I'd recommend you keep an eye out for. You really can't go wrong with either Lead from Gold or Demo in column 3. Lead from Gold helps you avoid a problem that all special ammo spamming demons hate: running out of ammo. And of course, Demolitionist is kind of just all reliable for a majority of PvE special weapons. You get free grenade energy all day and the occasional shoot, throw grenade, shoot again move, which is always fun. Again, you really just got to make the call between redirection or chain reaction. Chain reaction for a more fun, make the room go boom type deal. Again, basically Forbearance in the kinetic slot, or redirection if you want to first build up stacks and then smack beefier enemies way harder. And yes, before you say it, I'm aware that New Pacific is the only wave frame in the game capable of rolling sword logic, but in the wise words of Kumar Patel, just because you're hung like a moose doesn't mean you gotta do porn. TLDR, I'd rather roll with redirection or chain reaction for a wave frame, but you do you. Moving on, we have Long Arm, a scout rifle from the Spire dungeon. I'm gonna be honest, while this should be fine in PvE if you like scout rifles, I've always wanted this thing to be good in PvP, but every time I put it back on and take it into Crucible, I feel like it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Kinda like eating a Hot Pocket for the first time in 5 years and then immediately remembering why you haven't had one in so long. Here are your god rolls. Rapid Hit is just a solid perk for Long Arm, but if you got one with Subsistence instead for PvE, that would be fine, who cares? But yeah, if you're looking for a Long Arm in PvE, I'd say it comes down to personal preference between Rolling Storm, Dragonfly, or Redirection. Rolling Storm is awesome in PvE because Bolt Charge is awesome in PvE. Dragonfly can help you a little bit in the crowd control department, and Redirection in particular on the Long Arm is solid because of how easily it cooks red bars and how hard it hits in general. Take it from me, those yellow bars are going to start really crying when the Redirection Long Arm starts hitting. In PvP, I'm happy to come back later and hit y'all with a, hey, I was wrong, Long Arm is really good in PvP. But again, I'm really just not a fan. If you see me in PvP willingly using a scout rifle that is not either DMT, Mida Multi-Tool, or Jade Rabbit, that is a dead giveaway. I have been kidnapped and someone is using my account. Lone Wolf Precision Instrument is pretty solid on paper, but if you want to go hipfire grip and be that guy, be my guest. Lord knows hip firing is big these days with the following exotics out in play. Again, though, if I'm hip firing a scout rifle in PvP, probably going to be DMT. Moving on, Liminal Vigil, a heavy burst sidearm from the Spire of the Watcher dungeon. I want to be clear, I don't normally jam with heavy burst sidearms, but some of the numbers this thing can hit in PvP are gross. But more on that in a minute. Here are your god rolls to look out for. For the third roll, I'm going to be real for a minute. There's definitely way more efficient ways to build up stacks of frost armor in PvE, but I don't know. I feel like some folks out there might enjoy the combo of Headstone and Rhyme Stealer, and I feel like it would make some random weapon designer at Bungie happy that I threw it a bone because it's a combo the OG Limitless could not roll with. Attrition Orbs and Desperate Measures is IMO a way more efficient roll in PvE. Orb generation and extra damage, what could be simpler? Finally, if you enjoy heavy burst sidearms in PvP, try out Lone Wolf or Tap the Trigger paired together with Kill Clip. Not exactly breaking out new tech out here, but yeah, fun fact, with Kill Clip activated, Liminal Vigil becomes a 2-burst kill in PvP, achieving a TTK of 0.47 seconds which is unbelievably short. Like Kevin Hart down on his knees looking up at Yao Ming short. Granted, Desperate Measures at level 1 can also hit a 2-burst kill in PvP, but that requires all shots to be in the head, whereas Kill Clip can let you do it with 1 burst to the head, and then the second burst hitting 1 bullet in the head and the other in the body. At the end of the day, totally up to you, but be wary of sidearm gods wielding this in PvP, they'll rip right through you. Next up, we have Relentless, a high impact frame pulse rifle from the Prophecy dungeon. There was a time not too long ago where high impact frame pulse rifles were really popular in PvP. Then there were a few sandbox changes here and there, and the pulse rifles you're gonna see the most now are Redrix and BXR 9 times out of 10. But with that in mind, here are your god rolls to look for. PvE wise, you got some interesting strand possibilities here and there. Slice Hatchling or Firefly Hatchling would definitely be fun to try out, especially during any episode where there are a lot of strand heavy mods on the artifact. Firefly Hatchling in particular because there's no other pulse rifle out there capable of rolling that combo. For PvP, if you're a big fan of the long range dad rifling, Relentless is officially the first high impact frame pulse rifle capable of rolling Lone Wolf, which puts in work in PvP. In the 4th column, Headseeker is still fairly popular on hard-hitting rifles these days, but don't forget about Paracausal Affinity. It's basically we have Kill Clip at home, but when activated, which remember you can do by just getting a kill with the gun itself, it'll give you a 20% damage buff for 6 seconds. That can help you hit a TTK of 0.6 seconds. Not bad at all. Moving on, Judgment, a hand cannon from the Prophecy dungeon. To me, it seems like Judgment was 100% built with PvP in mind. Not to say it would do badly in PvE, but yeah, the majority of the perks IMO are kind of a Crucible vibe. Here are your rolls. Honestly, just take your pick of whatever PvP hand cannon perks you like best out of the following. Although, gun to my head, I would probably go with Slide Shot Precision Instrument, but that is just me. Any combination of those perks mentioned will do fine if you enjoy using 140 RPM hand cannons in PvP. I am a little bit more of a 120 RPM hand cannon guy these days. Shout out to Criminal's Dagger, but to each their own. Next up, the Prosecutor, an auto rifle from the Prophecy dungeon. Better known as Shadow Price wishes this auto rifle didn't exist. Here are your god rolls to look for. If you like to auto rifle in PvP, you brave soul you, try out either Zen Moment or Keep Away. Both are fine paired together with Paracausal Affinity. And yeah, I know the weapon can roll target lock, but the benefit on paper is minimal at best. You're not lowering your optimal TTK at all, it just makes reaching that optimal TTK mildly easier. Paracausal is way more worth it in a PvP setting IMO. PvE wise, Eddy Current or Dragonfly with Volt Shot is your standard crowd control red bar kill and roll. But Dragonfly and Rolling Storm is probably what I'd want the most in a PvE setting. Dragonfly because yay explosions, but as mentioned earlier, Rolling Storm is awesome because Bolt Charge is awesome. That will remain to be the case until Bolt Charge is, knock on wood, ever nerfed by Bungie. Next up, we have Terminus Horizon, an arc machine gun from the Spire of the Watcher dungeon. I think a lot of people are gonna not care about the Horizon, mainly because we just got the Watchful Eye, and we also have the Song of Ir Yût, which is craftable. But Terminus has got cool things going for it. Check it out. Horizon is the only machine gun in the game capable of rolling Precision Instrument, which, by the way, can go all the way up to 30% extra damage output if you wind up enhancing the perk. You also have the classic Reconstruction Killing Tally roll for PvE, aka the Turn Your Brain Off roll. Basically, you just cook a bunch of red bars and then cut through everything else with a 30% damage buff until you inevitably have to reload, which may be a fairly long time thanks to Reconstruction. I think the Killing Tally roll is what most folks will gravitate to, which is fine, but finally we have Triple Tap and Jolting Feedback. Terminus is the only machine gun in the game capable of rolling this combo, and honestly, I'm here for it. Don't get me wrong, we're definitely nowhere near close to anything resembling a machine gun DPS meta, but if you just want to cook yellow bars in a GM Nightfall, Triple Tap Jolting Feedback will be a good time. Alrighty, we are now down to the top 5 weapons I'm most looking forward to getting a god roll for. Starting with Wilderflight, a double fire grenade launcher from the Spire dungeon. I run a lot of double special loadouts these days, and I'm looking forward to adding Wilderflight into my usual rotation. Here are your god rolls to look for. Now, before you look at this and say, hey Fallout, what the fuck, man? Where's repulsor brace and D-stab rounds? I mean, yeah, you can go for that, but have you heard the good word about our Lord and Savior, Adept Lotus Eater? I think if you want a void energy weapon that can do that, Lotus is what you should probably be chasing. For Wilderflight though, Envious Arsenal would be great if you wanted to insert this weapon into a DPS rotation loadout. In short, you'd pair it together with a heavy weapon that has Envious Arsenal and bait and switch that you would be using for DPS. That way, when you're swapping between weapons during DPS, you'd have two weapons with Envious Arsenal, which is very handy because it cuts out a lot of reloading. Then you have the role of disorienting grenades, slide shot, and lead from gold. This is your all-purpose PvE grenade launcher. You can A, blind everything in the room, B, auto reload just by sliding, and C, have better ammo management overall. An awesome role, highly encourage you to go get it. Coming in at number 4, we have Greasy Luck, a solar glaive from the dungeon that nobody likes to farm, which is a shame by the way, because 3 of my top 5 weapons are from that dungeon. For a long time, I was not a glaive guy, but somewhat recently I've come around and have started to really enjoy using them. Although to be fair, there are several mods on the current episode artifact which really helped push me in that direction. Anyway, here are your god rolls to look out for. Only 2 rolls on this bad boy I'm interested in. Basically, you just gotta make a choice between incandescent or chain reaction, both of which are fine for ad clear purposes. I think maybe if your overall build would benefit more from spreading scorch around, maybe if you're playing solar or something to that degree, go incandescent. Otherwise, chain reaction is pretty standard and fun. Greasy Luck is officially the only glaive in the game capable of rolling heal clip, which I find interesting because glaives are already very defensive and protective in nature. So now with heal clip, you'll be even harder to kill. Some people may scoff at that idea, but pay them no mind. Finally, we got a solid glaive roll, a peanut butter and jelly type deal. Lead from gold and close to melee. Again, lead from gold just being an excellent PvE perk for any special weapon, paired with close to melee, which is just an objectively good glaive perk. You get a projectile kill, and now you have a 10-second window where you have a plus 30% damage buff on your melee attacks. This is definitely not a unique glaive roll, by the way. Several others can hit that combo, but no other solar glaive can do it. Again, just really good on paper, and I recommend it strongly. Coming in at number 3 that I'm most excited for is No Survivors, a solar SMG from Ghosts of the Deep. If you joined D2 late, or you just never got a Callus mini tool back in the day, then you should really prioritize trying to get a No Survivors because it's looking like a primo solar SMG in both PvE and PvP. Here's a few roles to look out for and for us to talk about. On the PvP side, No Survivors is the first aggressive frame SMG capable of rolling both Master of Arms and Sword Logic. You can't roll them together, that would be crazy, but the fact that you have access to either is genuinely pretty frightening. With Sword Logic activated, you take your TTK from 0.75 seconds across the board down to either 0.67 seconds or 0.58, depending on your enemy's level of resil. And reminder that Sword Logic, when active, will last for 7.5 seconds. Almost the same thing with Master of Arms. You take your TTK from 0.75 seconds down to either 0.67 or 0.58, depending on the enemy's resil. The beauty of Master of Arms, though, is that you can activate the perk even if you get a kill with whatever other weapon you happen to be wielding. Overall, I'm recommending Master of Arms if possible because you have the ability to take it up to level 2, which then takes your TTK down to 0.58 seconds, no matter what level of resil the other guy is. And when level 2 of Master of Arms is over, you then go back down to level 1 instead of losing the damage buff flat out. And by the way, yeah, I know target lock is an option, but the numbers aren't really that generous. Basically, if your enemy has high-ish level resil, you have to be very accurate in the headshot department, and remember, if you miss even one bullet when shooting, you lose the benefit of target lock altogether. But hey, if you're a PvP god that never misses, maybe go target lock, but I prefer the perks that are really deadly and also very forgiving. Your PvE roles are Demolitionist and Incandescent, and Heal Clip and Incandescent. Very predictable and kind of boring, but also very good. Just gotta decide on whether you want Demolitionist or Heal Clip. It'll depend on your build, but that's it in a nutshell. Can't wait to get a few rolls of that bad boy. It should be fire. At number 2, we have Cold Comfort, a stasis rocket launcher from Ghosts of the Deep. These rolls are going to be almost exactly what you expect them to be, but here they are. Reconstruction and Chill Clip is kind of your Grandmaster Nightfall roll. Basically, anytime a champion or other beefy yellow bar shows up, you can whip out a rocket launcher with an overloaded mag and then both slow and freeze the enemy. Again, very handy for champion killing. Your next roll is Envious Arsenal and Elemental Honing. At its ceiling potential, Elemental Honing is technically a stronger and better perk than Bait and Switch. At max power, it gives a plus 35% damage buff and it goes for 20 seconds overall. So in theory, if you have a build where you really know how to big brain things and easily ramp up Elemental Honing to max power, you'd have a really great DPS rocket launcher, one capable of outshining Bait and Switch. That being said though, I think 99% of players are gonna land on hashtag the roll, aka Envious Arsenal and Bait and Switch. This is the head empty, I just want quality DPS rocket roll. Bait and Switch is only 30% compared to Elemental Honing's 35%, but Bait and Switch is dummy easy to activate, not the weird balancing act that Elemental Honing is. Just get any damage with all 3 of your weapons and bam, free damage buff. And yeah, there are other rockets out there with this combo, even solar ag frame ones like the Heathen Vengeance, but I was lazy and never grinded for one, so I'll probably just go for Cold Comfort. Oh, and remember, we always want Impact Casing in column 2 for our PvE rocket launchers. Finally, at number 1, we have a Sudden Death. Yes, very funny, Fallout puts a shotgun at number 1, ha ha ha. It's for good reason, I assure you. Here are your rolls. For PvP, we already have an abundance of god roll shotguns these days, but have one more. Gun to my head, I'm going Threat Detector and Opening Shot, but Slide Shot is also cash. Likewise for Closing Time, although I feel like that perk shines a little brighter on slug shotguns in PvP. PvE wise, a Sudden Death has very interesting potential. Discord and Destabilizing Rounds will let you have a brief window where you will A, have infinite ammo, and B, make the room go boom with plenty of beautiful purple explosions. But the big ticket item without question is the combo of 1-2 Punch and Trench Barrel. While many shotguns are capable of rolling both of those perks, a Sudden Death is the only shotgun in the game capable of rolling both at the same time. Mark my words, you are going to see a lot of clips of bosses getting deleted by PvE players using this roll. Trench gives extra reload handling and 50% extra shotgun damage for your next 3 shots, and 1-2 Punch lets you smack the bejesus out of enemies 100% harder with your next melee attack. I feel like this is Bungie's equivalent of letting the melee happy speedrunners eat ice cream for dinner. Kind of a, let them go have fun type vibe. Maybe there are sandbox changes coming down the pipe in July that we don't know about, but until then, PvE demons will be farming for and thoroughly enjoying this roll. Give today's video a like if it gave you any guidance at all, and be sure to share it with a friend or teammate who has no idea what they're looking for in Rite of the 9. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitch because I'll be doing some Rite of the 9 carries for the next few Saturdays on stream. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.